Well, this is it, guys. Our last review. Couldn't have come any sooner if you ask me.
It does kind of stink, though, that we won't have reviewed any of my movies.
You'll get over it. Indiana Jones 5 probably won't be good anyway.
If it ever even comes out.
I honestly think it's for the best, though. These reviews have just gotten really repetitive.
I mean, they've really always been pretty repetitive.
Kinda. But remember back to the first review when we went on that tangent about swearing?
Oh yeah, that was completely random.
The reviews definitely became a lot more analytical as time went on.
And who could forget when we used to have Jar Jar here?
As much as I try, even I hadn't forgotten.
Well, anyway, hello everyone. I'm Batman, and this is the review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So, for a movie called Multiverse of Madness, it didn't really have a lot of multiverse in it.
Yeah, they only really went to 2 other universes.
What do you mean only 2? They flew through at least a dozen different universes.
Sure, but they only spent a second in each one, so they don't really count. There wasn't really a lot of madness for that matter either.
I mean, I would say it was a bit more mad than your usual Marvel movie.
Sure, I guess. There were a few pretty crazy moments.
Probably the craziest aspect of the movie was everything with Wanda.
I agree. I can't believe they made her the villain.
Which basically means the whole point of WandaVision was to be her villain origin story.
I thought she had learned her lesson, though, by the end of that. So her being the villain here kind of feels like a contradiction.
Well, she gave up her children at the end of WandaVision because she recognized that they weren't real. However, through the Darkhold, she realized that she could actually be with them.
Still, going from loving mother to murderous psychopath seemed a bit ridiculous.
I guess we can just put that down to the Darkhold corrupting her. Kind of a cop-out if you ask me.
Regardless, she was still a very terrifying villain.
Totally. She seemed almost kind of OP at times.
I didn't mind that, honestly. I loved seeing her violently killing people. Especially the scene with her killing the entire Illuminati.
I agree. That was brutal.
Speaking of the Illuminati, those were some really cool cameos.
I would say Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, and Black Bolt were cool, but I didn't really care for the others.
But what about the Bruce Campbell cameo? That was easily the best one.
Oh, I agree. That was hilarious.
I'll be honest though, I was expecting there to be a lot more cameos.
That's probably more the fans' fault. They set up a lot of unrealistic expectations after No Way Home.
Well, with how big of a movie that was, I think we all expected this one to be even bigger.
It almost feels like the MCU has gotten too big for its own good.
Yeah, they can't seem to have a solo movie without there being some cameo or crossover. I honestly wouldn't mind if, it was me finally getting a cameo.
That's not gonna happen, Deadpool. You're just gonna have to wait for them to give you your own PG-13 movie.
Don't even f***ing joke about something like that!
Focusing on Doctor Strange, I feel like he was severely weaker in this movie.
I felt that too. He was able to go toe-to-toe with Thanos wielding 4 Infinity Stones in Infinity War, but in this one, he can't do shit against Wanda.
Also, I feel like there was a pretty simple solution to defeating Wanda. Couldn't he have just trapped her in the mirror dimension?
Yeah, I don't think she would have had any way to escape.
It is dumb that it was a big thing in the first movie, but wasn't used at all in this one.
He sure remembered to use it in No Way Home.
He still had some pretty good fight scenes with Mordo and Sinister Strange.
Yeah, I would say those were some fantastic fight scenes.
I also found it kind of funny how they kept killing off his alternate versions.
They sure do like to kill off Strange in his own movies.
Thinking of Mordo, I realized how underutilized he was in this movie.
Yeah, with the after credit scene in the first one, I figured he'd be the main villain in the sequel.
I didn't like that either. The real Mordo doesn't even show up in this, just his alternate universe version.
The only mention of the real Mordo is when Strange says that they apparently became arch enemies off screen.
It sure would have been nice if we got to see that.
Regardless, at least we still got the real Wong.
Totally. He's probably been my favorite character from the Doctor Strange movies.
It was still dumb, though, that he kept getting the kicked out of him by Wanda.
Yeah, so much for being the Sorcerer Supreme.
Overall, though, I would say this movie turned out pretty good.
It wasn't as good as No Way Home, but it definitely had some great moments.
It didn't really have any awful moments either. Marvel just can't seem to miss.
I think you guys are forgetting something.
Like what?
I think we covered everything.
What about the ice cream song?
Oh, I completely forgot about that. Me too. I hoped I wouldn't have to think about it again.
Even I have to admit, that was really tough to sit through.
Still, it's just one bad moment. It definitely wasn't enough to ruin the movie.
Fair enough. I just figured it was worth pointing out.
Well, anyway, I think that'll be it for the final review. Hallelujah! We are finally done!
It sure does feel nice that we don't have to worry about making these anymore.
Yeah, now we can just enjoy movies without having to think about reviewing them.
Despite how we feel about this series, we really appreciate the support you all have given us. This is far from the end of the channel, and we hope you'll enjoy all the future content that we have planned.